So, what is MURS anyway? Hi, and welcome to the Gadget Talk channel, where we do reviews and how-tos on a variety of electronic gadgets that catch my eye. If you find this video helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. I really appreciate it. In this video, we're going to do two things. First, since MURS is likely a new concept to many of you, we'll do a quick overview of this radio service. Next, we'll do a comprehensive review of the Radioddity MU-5 MURS handheld transmitter, or HT. I'll put time codes or YouTube chapters in the video, so feel free to skip around using the video scrubber or slider bar at the bottom of the video. As we get started, I wanted to thank Radioddity for sending me the MU-5 for this review. As always, you'll still get my honest opinions. So, let's do a quick overview of the MURS system for those of you who are new to it. MURS stands for Multi-Use Radio Service. The FCC uses the term service to mean frequency ranges and purposes that radios can be used for. For example, the General Mobile Radio Service, or GMRS, or the Amateur Radio Service are other radio services where the FCC allows folks to operate two-way radios. MURS radios are limited to 2 watts of power, and their 5 channels are specified in the regulations. Unlike amateur or ham radio, where hams can choose any allowable frequency, MURS is more like CB or GMRS, with channels assigned to specific frequencies. Unlike GMRS or ham radio, MURS is licensed by rule. That means to legally operate, a MURS transmitter must be FCC certified for MURS use, but you, as the operator, don't need an operator's license. MURS channels are not assigned to any operator or group. We're expected to cooperate with each other when using our MURS radios. Unlike the small family radio service or FRS radios, MURS radios can have detachable antennas. That means you can use an external antenna that might increase signal gain and thus the range of the transmitter. You can put an antenna on the car or on the top of a building or a mast. Since VHF frequencies are line of sight, a taller antenna can increase range. You can still only transmit at 2 watts, however. Now, onto the radio. The MU-5 radio appears to be built on the very popular Radioddity GM30 GMRS radio chassis. That's not unusual, since many of these small handheld transmitters, or HTs, are essentially radios on a chip. There's a solid-state chip that does the heavy lifting when it comes to doing the radio tasks, such as frequency selection, channel management, and other important tasks. There are obviously other components such as amplifiers, speakers, antennas, connectors, and the like too. The firmware programmed into the chip allows the radio to work in the band and with the restrictions placed on its use by various governments. In the US, it's the FCC. The good news is that the GM30 is an established and very popular HT, so we can expect the MU-5 to share its solid operational characteristics. The MU-5 has an FCC ID number, meaning it's approved for use in the MURS band. Before we look at the radio itself, let's take a second to review some important features and benefits of the MU-5. First, the radio has the 5 MURS channels programmed with the assigned power limits and bandwidths assigned as required by the FCC. That means it's ready to go right out of the box and will work with any other MURS band radio. The MU-5 also has 3 banks of additional MURS channels. These do-it-yourself channels are the same 5 channels as channels 1 through 5 as required by the FCC. What they allow you to do, however, is to basically duplicate the channels and add different CT/CSS codes. In this way, you can have 4 channel 1s or channel 2s, each with a different CT/CSS code. Now, if I seem like I'm speaking a foreign language, CT/CSS codes are the subaudible tones that, if set, will keep the radio speaker from playing any transmission that doesn't include that subaudible tone. It's just a way to limit what you'll hear if a channel happens to be busy. In radio lingo, the radio has to hear the proper subaudible tone to break the squelch. MURS channels are seldom busy, so I wouldn't worry about setting these codes. If you do set them, set both the receive and transmit to the same code and make sure the folks you plan to speak to also have those same codes set. Another cool feature of this radio is that there are over 200 additional channels you can program as receive-only channels. Besides receiving the FM broadcast band, the receiver portion of the radio will also receive the VHF and UHF bands as well. This means that you can set ham radio repeater channels in both the 2 and 70 centimeter bands, marine channels, the GMRS channels, as well as a host of other radio services that operate in the VHF and UHF bands who use analog FM signals. Oh, and I almost forgot. You can also access the NOAA weather channels in the United States from the faceplate. Now, let's take a look at the radio. Okay, so here's the box that the MU-5 comes in. Well, let's take a minute and lay out what comes inside. Okay, here's what we've got coming out of the box. We've got a USB wall wart here with the USB-A here, a USB-C power charging cable right here. We've got a belt clip, an antenna that's a little different. It has the full range. If you look inside here, it talks about an antenna that has the range from, let me see if I can read that, 136 all the way up to 520 megahertz. It's a little more flexible than the typical rubber ducky on some of the Radioddity radios. We've got the secret agent style headset with the K1 connectors here. We got a battery. It says it's a 1500 milliamp hour battery. And here is the radio itself. Batteries there. There's the FCC ID number. And then a wrist strap for those of you who like to have a little extra protection for your radio when you're carrying it around. There's that wrist strap. So let's move this stuff out of the way, connect the battery and antenna to the radio, and look at the radio with a little more specificity. So as we saw a minute ago, here with the antenna, we've got the connector here is the socket side, the female side of the antenna. The antenna is a little different than the typical rubber duckies. It's a little longer and a little bit more flexible than some of the other radios sold by Radioddity. The radio itself has got on the top the antenna connector. It's got the plug side here, or the male side, an LED for flashlight and on-off button right there, and then an LED indicator when it's transmitting, when it's receiving. So that's on the top. On the front of the radio, the speaker is right behind this grill right here. There's a little dot opening right there, which is where the microphone is. It's got a 2-line display here with some other icons around the edge that you'll see here in a minute, and then the faceplate, which is identical to the GM30 radio. So we've got the menu button here. Long press will change it from channel to VFO mode. Up and down arrows. The menu exit, a long press will give you the weather on this button right here. And then the numbers 1 through 0 with some of the menu items listed for kind of a memory aid or a shortcut. The star key, a long press on that will lock the keyboard, and then a long press on the number key will start the scanning process. On this side, we've got a couple of buttons. This one will cycle the flashlight on and off. We'll show you that in a minute. Go to FM, push to talk button over here. On this side, there's an opening for the connectors, the K1 connector. The little secret agent style headset will plug in here. A speaker mic will plug in there as well. Of course, the programming cable will plug in there as well. On the back, I've installed the battery. You see you've got a loop here for the lanyard if you want to use that. And then these little screws will come out if you want to mount the belt clip. The belt clip mounts to the battery, since the battery takes up virtually the entire back of the radio. And then on the bottom here is that USB-C connector that you'll use to charge, with a little charge indicator LED right beside it. Right over here is a little latch that will unlatch the battery off the back. And so that's kind of a tour of the radio. Let me put the antenna on and turn the radio on, and we can see what some of the other controls do. Okay, so we've got the antenna on now. We'll turn the radio on.
Tell him channel mode.
So we've got the radio on. So let me zoom in here on the display so it's a little easier for you to see. Okay, so I've got us zoomed in here now, and I've also got the backlight set to 1 second. That's the shortest it's on, but when the backlight's on, it kind of blows the camera out. So when the backlight's off, it's a little easier for you to see. So as we look at this, we've got some of the indicators up here, the low, high, and narrow band, whether the beep's on, the battery status is over here. But the important thing is that it's on MURS channel 1, and MURS channel 1 is 151.8200, and you can see over here it's channel 1. Now, this is the sync status on, and so I'll point out that menu here in just a minute. Otherwise, you can change the display to have both your A and your B registers or VFOs active. So let's go and do that here just real quick.
Menu.
So to make a menu change, you go to the menu item and then you go up or down. In this case, I'm going to go down because sync is at the end of the list. It's item 41. So we're going to hit menu again, and you'll see that the second line opens up, and we're going to use the up and down buttons to turn sync off. Press menu again.
Confirm.
It says confirm, and at that point I could go to another menu, or I can just get out, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to press the exit menu. So here with the normal display, you've got register A is on MURS channel 1, and register B is on MURS channel 20. And we'll talk more about that later. So to change from register A to register B, we'll just press the little back button here, the little red half circle. Now we're in the register B on channel 20. Press it again, we're back up to register 1, MURS channel 1. And then to change from channel mode, which is what we're in now, to VFO mode, which is the frequencies, we can press and hold the menu key over here.
Frequency mode.
And so you can see that in VFO mode, register 1 is set to a frequency in the 70 centimeter band, and register 2 is set to a MURS channel, and you can see the 151.8250 is one of the MURS channels, and that's in the VFO mode, and you can see the word VFO right over here in this display. but mostly we're going to be working in the channel mode, so let's go back.
Channel mode.
Now to change channels, we just use the up and down key. And so if we go to MURS channel 1 and go down, we go to channel 20, which is the limit of what we've got programmed into the radio right now. I haven't done any other programming at this point. So we can go up MURS channel 1, MURS channel 2. Again, up here you can see those are narrow band. MURS channel 3, again, narrow band. MURS channel 4. That little N disappeared right up there because MURS channel 4 and 5 kind of come from when this band was used for a different purpose. And so those are wideband. And so it's kind of a unique setting, but they're all pre-programmed, so it's nothing you have to worry about. It's just that is what it is. So again, we'll use the down button to go to MURS 3, 2, 1, and so forth. Now again, to use the menu, we can press the menu very quick. And so you can see here, then we have menu 1 is squelch, step is menu 2, power save. And I'm going to be doing a separate video on what all these menu items mean. So I'm not going to go into a lot of depth here, but just know that this is how you maneuver within the menu. If you don't do anything like we just did there, it'll go back to the mode that you had selected, either VFO or in this case into channel mode. Now on the other side, we have a couple of buttons we want to take a peek at here. The minus button up here turns into the FM broadcast range, and you can scan or you can type frequencies in there. Won't stay there very long so we don't get a copyright problem with YouTube. And then on the bottom, you can turn the flashlight on. It'll flash. And then you can turn it off. And then, of course, push to talk is right here. So those are pretty much the controls for this little MU-5 MURS radio. For most users, programming your radio using a computer program called the Customer Programming Software, or CPS, won't be necessary. However, the MU-5 has a CPS available on the downloads page at radioddity.com. This software will allow you to do everything that the radio's keypad allows you to do, plus it's a lot easier to program in those receive-only channels using your computer's keyboard, should you choose to have a bunch of those. You'll need a programming cable to connect your radio to a Windows computer. Before we move into why you might choose a MURS band radio portion of the video, here are a couple of comments on the MU-5. First, as I mentioned earlier, the radio is built on an established chassis with a proven track record as a GMRS radio. Next, the 200-plus programmable channels makes the MU-5 a good choice for a go bag or prepper application, assuming MURS is the band you choose to use. Also, having broadcast FM and NOAA weather channels makes this a good all-around radio for camping or staying connected in an emergency. The MU-5 USB-C charging capability gives you a lot of flexibility in keeping the battery charged up in the outdoors or in SHTF situations. Power bricks, small solar panels, and other USB power sources will all work. Plus, there's no need to keep special equipment or cables on hand. So, all in all, the MU-5 seems to be a solidly built, feature-packed MURS radio. It has a solid feel that should stand up to day-to-day use quite well. While it's not waterproof, normal outdoor activities should not be a problem for this little handheld. So, what's the use case for this radio? In other words, why choose MURS radio versus some other radio service? First, they're designed to be easy to use. Just turn it on, set the channel, and you're on the air. Next, they use low power, so no operator's license is required. Unlike GMRS or amateur radio, you won't need to obtain an FCC license. These radios work in the VHF range at about 152 megahertz. You'll get good reception at ranges up to about a mile, more in open terrain. I'm always hesitant to give distance estimates since topography, structures, and vegetation all impact range, so consider these as a fairly short-range communications device. Next, the MU-5 would be a good choice for your bug-out bag or part of an emergency comms kit. The additional programmable receive-only channels are a fairly unique feature of the MU-5. Next, MURS radios don't have many restrictions on how you use them. Assuming you're not using them to break some other law, you can use them in a business setting, to communicate with employees, use them to keep track of family when out camping or hiking or going to a fair or festival of some kind, or just for the kids to play around with. While 5 channels may seem rather limiting, the low power and fairly low usage of the MURS band make it unlikely you'll find others on the channel you want to use. Now, that being said, if your goal is to find others to casually chat with or to contact someone across town, MURS is unlikely to be your best choice. That kind of operation is probably best using a ham license where lots of users are on the air with the main purpose of just chatting with new friends. So, there you have it. Hopefully, you've got a good idea of what you'll be able to do with the Radioddity MU-5 MURS radio, and you've learned a little bit about the multiple use radio service too. If you found this video helpful, please click the thumbs up button below the video and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. Click the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching.